The giant banner tonight says Storm pumping with purple pride. Quite a moment for Billy the Kid, leading the Storm out for this round 11 match. And that is a hell of a stat. First time we've ever had to put that up. Most games ever before skippering a side.
Yep, he'll play his 309th, Billy Slater. He's just taken on another level in regards to responsibility. You mentioned, Vossi, he does it all, but his game management in 2018 has gone up a notch. With young Riley Jacks, Brodie Croft earlier, he's had to do a lot more kicking, and there he is, young Riley Jacks. Only his 7th game tonight for 2018. And Wright, he'll have to play a huge role, won't he, especially in the absence of Cameron Smith.
He sure will, and he has already so far in 2018 when he has put on that number 7 Melbourne Storm jersey. What a player he has been, and Brendan Smith. So there's still a Smith in that number 9 jersey. You can't get rid of it. And he had an enormous game last week against the Broncos. He was close to their best player.
Storm have won their last 3 matches against Manly. Henry Perinara, central referee for this one. Underway on a Saturday night at Amy Park off the boot of Matthew Wright for Manly and the Melbourne Storm. And straight away it is the captain with the first touch, Billy Slater. And Coruscant and Fanua Blake there to meet him with Joel Thompson. Terrific win by Manly last Saturday night up at Suncorp over Brisbane. Their attack was slick. And Melbourne, well, it was, well, clunky's been a word well used this year. They were a little clunky at times against the Titans, but they got competition points. Now, Welsh with it. Up in the starting front row, still no Jesse Bromwich for Melbourne, sidelined with that knee injury. Now Finucane. So they have some leaders out there that don't necessarily have a C next to their name. Finucane is one of them, as Brandon Smith takes them left side. I can tell you that Cameron Munster will be the first choice kicker for Melbourne tonight, goal kicking that is. He was the man going through warm-up. He kicks at 52%, so that could be a problem for the Storm tonight. They also have Joe Stimson coming off the bench that does a bit of goal kicking. Possession and short. They call that forward, or the crowd did, to Sully. No call from the 2 referees. So Seagulls with it. It's just a matter of continuing where they left off last week. It's a power to play it just short of the 40. Jake Trbojevic. What a star performer he was against Brisbane. Last tackle here for Manly. And Cherry Evans gets to the left side of the ruck. And doesn't kick all that long, to be honest. Straight down the throat of Vunivalu. And you'd have to think if you followed, and there's an offload from Surley for Slater. And Slater does the same to no one. They were retreating. Finucane going back. The head bandage almost over his eyes, as now the Fox has an early touch. I was going to say about Vunivalu, he's got 7 tries in 3 games against Manly. On the other wing, Addo-Carr scored 10 from his past 5 games this year. You've got to think there's 4-pointers between those 2 tonight. 4 tackles into the set. Welsh along. Munster with a little bit of a swerve in his run there. Lane was waiting for him. Fanua Blake, the other defender. Last tackle. Back for Riley Jacks to be the kicker. Not the highest of bombs you'll see. Trbojevic is all over it. And Tom has a touch there for Manly.
And clear intent early from the Melbourne Storm. More dummy half running than you've ever seen. The last 3 weeks, they've moved the football a lot, but you saw Will Chambers, Vunivalu, Addo-Carr come in. I think they fancy their chances in around Manly's ruck.
So Seagulls possession and 3 get involved in the tackle. Just to lay a little statistical foundation stone down as Cherry Evans goes right. Walker and Sully. Melbourne have scored the first try at Amy in their last 10 games. We'll see if that trend continues tonight. Walker wants to have a little say about that. 5 tackles for Manly up this time. Coruscant on a quick play the ball. Cherry Evans. Slater is under this one. Chasers stand back. And Slater looks at a white and maroon wall. And he'll be called to play at 15 out from his own line.
The 5th tackle options from both teams early on in this game have been questionable, to say the least. 2 kicks 3 kicks now up in the air, but not too high and quite deep, giving no chase. Well, no chasers a chance to get to the ball, so they'll have to improve in that area.
Brandon Smith on to Christian Welsh. Brandon playing the 11th game of his career, the 8th for the year. He's only averaged 21 minutes an appearance this season. Kick is long and searching for the touchline, and Trbojevic, in the end, I think he's thankful that it has gone over the line. He was going to face quite an assignment had it stayed in.
And there it is, a much better kick from Riley Jacks on the 5th tackle. I was just saying that the few beforehand weren't so great, but that was perfect. Right into the corner. Trbojevic wanted that to go over the sideline. He settles it down. And he's been impressive in that department. It is the strength of his game. And he has taken a lot of pressure off Cameron Munster.
Well, let's get more on Riley Jack's sideline duties tonight. Brett Finch, a former halfback with Melbourne. What do you make of Riley?
Yeah, he's been superb this year, Vossi. He's just had a real calming influence. For a guy who hasn't played much first grade, his demeanour's really calm, and that's exactly what Bray said. His impact on Cameron Munster as well has been profound, and he'll have to step up tonight in the absence of Cameron Smith being suspended, and I look forward to seeing his play. A lovely kick there to start the game for him, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays out the next 70 minutes.
To power onto Cherry Evans. Oh, Lane has dropped it. Well, it looked slick to begin with, and then ball was lost. There is pressure on Manly now.
Well, they had numbers to the right. If he played out the back, Daly Cherry Evans, there was a lot of space. Goes short to Lane. Curtis Scott does a great job, reads it well, but out the back there was 3-on-1. Look at that, O'Carr is posted out there on his own. If he goes out the back to Walker, they are in some trouble, the Melbourne Storm.
Don't go early.
In a scrum where you could go left or right here, Melbourne. You've got Ed O'Carr out on that short side alongside Scott.
Wait, don't go
Right,
early.
you're working out towards Vunivalu. They will go Ed O'Carr's side with a bludger of a pass. It was almost along the ground to Ed O'Carr. In 10-pin bowling, it would have gone into the gutter. As now Melbourne get a penalty conceded by Wright. He's in the wrong, and now the tap is taken for Hoffman. And here come the Storm, tackle 121 away from the Manly line. Brandon Smith, the setup is deep to the right. The pass is over the shoulder of Chambers, and then over the shoulder of Vunivalu as well.
Well, you said it was a clunky game last week, or a clunky performance from the Melbourne Storm up against the Titans. They've continued to bring that form here this evening against Manly. Only early days, but their passing has been off the mark entirely. Vunivalu, no chance whatsoever. Just a little rusty, Gaz.
The space was there, though, wasn't it? Brendan Smith took an almighty knock from Marty Tapau. He came flying out of the line to try and make him play early to help his outside defenders out. But there was a big hole that presented itself to Will Chambers.
Manly relieved to have possession. And they are centre ground 20 away. And a penalty this time to Manly. Uarte had the carry. We learned he won't be at Manly next year. He's basically got the for sale sign on him. Aku Uarte. Earlier linked with Penrith, but they've now re-signed Josh Mansour, as was announced on Thursday night.
I was speaking to RQ before the game, Bossy, and he's not prepared to ride off not staying at Manly just yet. So
Okay.
Don't go early.
We'll see how things unfold. Here is Tapau with the ball. Running at Finucane. And almost slipped it away there, despite Welsh and Smith being involved in the tackle, and they've conceded as well.
That's too slow. You need to be quicker there.
So a little rush of penalties, and now it's going Manly's way.
There's been 3 quick penalties for crowding the play the ball, and they've been spot on. Just holding on too long there, Smith. Manly, great field position.
Don't go early, Riley. Wait, Dale. Wait.
So this is quite the opportunity. Tom Trbojevic on to Cherry Evans, and again with Tapau, and the first contact is good. Smith, Finucane there, and they get him on his back as well with the help of Welsh. DCE on this time to Fanua Blake, and Manly's inside Melbourne's 20. Looking to throw out the door the stat of Melbourne's record scoring first here. Cherry Evans, on it came, Thompson. ran into, or rather Vunivalu ran into Thompson. Thompson wasn't moving.
Go 3.
Coruscant, Trbojevic, that's Jake. He scored the first try against Brisbane.
Tackle 4, Brandon.
4 tackles, 5 metres away.
Go 4.
Still a great chance for Manly. Cherry Evans across the goal. It is Walker offloading back for Daly, and then hopping onto his back. Melbourne's defence hungry there. Smith does the job. Last tackle, Coruscant, Walker, Dylan Walker, in for Tom Trbojevic. It is called forward.
Here's the forward pass here from Dylan Walker, but I like the way that he plays this. Last tackle, shapes the kick, throws the pass back on the inside to Tom Trbojevic, who is so dangerous with a one-on-one. But unfortunately, the pass was forward.
Same again, Adam.
So let-offs for both teams in the last few minutes. And this time it was Melbourne's turn. They're now in possession with Christian Welsh. Outside the 20 they come. Chambers has gone in looking for a bit of work there from right centre. The Storm will have Harry Grant on debut coming off the bench. Their dummy half alternate, and you've got Trent Hodkinson on the comeback for Manly here tonight. He'll be on in jumper 14 a little later. Now the kick from Smith. It's high for Tom's under it. Steady as well. Only the one try so far this year for Tom Trbojevic. And he tracks across field there. The Seagulls this time out of their own 20. Heavy defence. And O'Carr in there with Munster. On right that time. Now Sully. Just his 3rd game for Manly. 20 metres inside their own half. And that time Fanua Blake off Cherry Evans. It's a keen tussle in the middle of the field at the moment. Two big packs on show tonight. Walker now on the edge. Lane with it. Last tackle for Manly. They've managed to get back up to halfway. Walker's the kicker this time.
10 metres.
What do you make of that kick? Down to Slater outside the 20.
Runs in.
And then, the ball's been stripped from Belly. Play on is it for Navalu. Cherry Evans, they're all there.
1-on-1, knock on from you.
They got the original strip, yes.
But it's a knock on.
So,
scrum here,
against Manly, Melbourne scrum feed.
It's a 1-on-1, knock on from Manly. It's a scrum here. There's no advantage back there.
So they're calling Coruscant's act a strip, and that went forward. Let's get being touched by Cherry Evans.
He definitely goes for the one-on-one strip there, Coruscant, and they're saying that he knocked it forwards out of Billy Slater's hands. Looks to be the right decision. Slater argues the point. He gets a victory on this occasion because they get the scrum feed.
Ziggy Sheklesa-Adamski is another referee on show tonight. Up there with referee Perinara.
Thanks, Jake. Get square. Stay here. Up square. Don't go early. Hold!
Melbourne in possession inside their 30. So 12.5 minutes have passed. And not a great highlights reel that's been established just yet. These two sides going at it. Asifa Solomona with that play the ball. Riley Jackson, now Billy's dropped it again. And this time the knock-on will be against Melbourne.
Yeah, Billy Slater coming up with an uncharacteristic error and playing in that first or second receiver role that we see him so often play so far in 2018. And Fanua Blake, his right arm, he had it right up against his body, like he's come up with a pretty serious injury, and the trainer ran out to take him off, and he said, no, I want to stay on. Now giving him a test. Is it the right shoulder? Thumbs are up. He'll stay on.
And there he was going in low in the tackle, but straight away wincing in pain. Real burner on the shoulder. Let's go down to the sideline to Finchy.
Yeah, a clunky start we spoke about, but this man up there, he won't be happy with their start. Cameron Smith, you don't see him in the coach's box too often, boys, but geez, there's plenty of footy smarts up in that coach's box, Cameron and Craig.
Indeed there is. So the Seagulls, another possession for them inside Melbourne's half. 39 away from the line, Cherry Evans. And now Jake Trbojevic with an offload. quality in his work. Tom along for Thompson. What a difference this Manly side we're watching to 3 weeks ago. And now Cherry Evans, there's to Pow at speed. Put a fend on Riley Jacks. That is tackle 4. They're 20 away. Cherry Evans again going across field, links up with Lane. Spun to ground in the tackle of Munster. Quick play the ball on the last. Cherry Evans will stab it across field. Tom's there. Suliasi Vunivalu may have knocked it forward. Thompson can't clean up. Double knock on. Manly will get the scrum fee.
Well, they get the ball back, but again, Daly Cherry Evans created the numbers out there on that right edge. If he played out the back instead of going to lane, they had numbers. And this is the contest for the football. Suliasi Vunivalu gets up above. Well, Chambers gets in there as well. But they've got to persevere with that right-hand edge, the Manly Sea Eagles.
And they'll get another opportunity now. They do look dangerous with the footy in their hands, Gaz, and Melbourne need to hang on.
This scrum 10 away. Cherry Evans, off it came, Uate. Melbourne put 40 on Manly last time they met. The Seagulls only snared the 1 try through Matthew Wright. Now Jake Trebojevic. Fly from the line. Down low was Welsh. Finucane as well. Coruscant, Cherry Evans. Trebojevic could be tried this time. And it goes to Wright. The ball wasn't as clean as he would have hoped for. He had to come to a complete stop to catch it. Still with Manly 5 away. No penalty blown. They said milking. Coruscant inside for Fanua Blake. He's okay. And 4. They get hungry in defence on the Manly prop. Tackle 4 to the right side this time. Held up. And no pass coming off Walker. And that time it was Hoffman in the tackle with Munster. Slow play the ball for Coruscant. Crook pass. Cherry Evans did well. The recovery, the kick straight to Chambers. Melbourne get through that set.
And again on that right-hand side, they created numbers, but Addo-Carr's doing a great job in defence. He's jamming the right-hand side attack of the Manly Sea Eagles, stopping them from getting the ball outside of him.
Manly 58% of the ball early through 16.5 minutes, but no score on the board. And now for Curtis Scott. He's been battling an ankle injury in recent weeks, Curtis. Christian Welsh feels a little bit of defensive heat there from the Manly front row. Offload after the call of Hill.
Last tackle, Christian.
Has got an offload in him, Christian Welsh. Now last tackle. Back for Munster to kick from inside the 40. He'll find the grass in the centre. And like a magnet, the ball finds Tom Trebojevic. It bounces towards him. Ooh, that's got to hurt a bit.
Tackle 1.
Into the legs or knees of Curtis Scott there, the Manly fullback. So Sea Eagles possession. 17 minutes into the game. Uate with it this time. Crowd trying to liven things up a little here. This time with Brian Kelly. Young centre pairing for Manly. Sully, 19, right-hand side. Kelly, 22 tomorrow on the left side. Cherry Evans comes that way and decides to deliberately kick this towards the sideline. What's that a sign of?
Fatigue generally, Vossi, but it actually came off a Melbourne Storm player. Daly Cherry Evans a little bit indecisive with that kick, but would be happy how they're going so far. They've created some opportunities over on that right edge.
It's been a conservative start from both sides. Manly have completed 8 of 10 sets. So they're completing at 80%, and they've been quite disciplined. They're throwing quite a bit at the opposition in the Melbourne Storm, and they're getting to their kicks and their 5th tackle options. But
bind together.
no side testing their hand too much early on in this game.
And held in the scrum, and Manly break them. You could penalise a side for all 6 breaking early. And here comes the differential penalty. I think the replay would prove that all 6 broke. Trebojevic and Munster get just a little upset about something, but Melbourne have become very good at this, holding the ball up in the scrum. Look at Manly. There's no front row when the ball comes out. They've all gone.
And it's actually designed. You saw Billy Slater swing around the short side. They just like the lock to break early. They try catch him out.
Okay. Don't go early. Go.
Well, we had a scrum win against the feed up on the Gold Coast today. A legitimate heel back. Nathan Pete's involved in that. One for the Hall of Fame Museum. Smith's lost the ball, the dummy half. Well, Greg Bellamy will not be happy.
Now, Nelson.
You have to find another word beside clunky. I think you just say untidy from Melbourne right at the moment. Sloppy is another word for it.
And it has crept into their game in 2018. They're the second worst for errors. They make 12 a game, which is so unlike the Melbourne Storm.
They are vulnerable, Melbourne, in this sort of form. Coruscant switches there. Trebojevic and Cherry Evans. And on it comes slickly along for Walker. He can move. He's getting close to the corner. Scrambling Melbourne defence. Munster there with Curtis Scott. Cherry Evans to Powell. He will look to offload. He put a fend up. There's the offload. Let's see if there's damage to follow. Coruscant, a real burrowing effort. And penalty goes to Manly 10 metres out. It's like the, sorry, you can eat. You can just take the 2 points, pick it up and put it on a plate.
Yeah, without doubt, they're going to go for goal and get the first points of the game. Dylan Walker over this right-hand side has looked dangerous, and he's at his best when he runs. He's fast, he's powerful. He got very close to the try line, and off the back of this, the Coruscant gets up to play the ball here. They were in some trouble, Melbourne. They had to give that penalty away. It was off the back of an offload of Tapau, and that's when they look dangerous. Off second phase play, Manly. The Seagulls, they're very dangerous.
Yeah, Cameron Munster is just really getting interested in laying out there when he runs that decoy line. And Curtis Scott doesn't know whether to play up and in or hold off and wait for Munster to come and help him out. So a little bit of indecision out there on the left edge for the Melbourne Storm, which the Seagulls are capitalising on.
5 penalties the first quarter of this match, and Manly will get a reward from this one. So Cherry Evans has them on the board. The visitors lead Melbourne by 2 points to 0. This is the last game of Super Saturday. The Sunday ticket tomorrow. We kick off at 1:30 and it's off to Mudgee. The only place you'll see St George Illawarra and the Canberra Raiders. And if you missed our coverage from the pre-season of the Charity Shield, where we went to Glen Willow Stadium, I think it's the best regional ground, the playing surface I have ever seen, Gaz.
I agree. It was magic out there, but I have to say, Tamworth, Scully Park was sensational as well.
It's an arm wrestle, Tamworth and Mudgee. What we were told when we did the Charity Shield was it was pretty much a sellout for the match in round 11, that far out. It's a beautiful place, and if you come from the centre of Sydney, it's about a 4-hour drive through the mountains and then north at Lithgow. Now Tapau with the ball for Manly. A 2-0 lead. Super Saturday here on Fox League, and the Seagulls looking to rattle the cage to the Melbourne Storm on their turf tonight. Head-to-head, 32 matches. Melbourne have won 18, Manly 13, and 1 draw is the record historically. But Manly, to me, look like a side that are prepared to grind out 80 minutes here tonight. Frank Winterstein will be the first interchange for Manly. Fanua Blake has gone to the bench. Cherry Evans, Tom Trebojevic comes back infield, looking for a hole. Doesn't quite find one, but his strength carries him 10 metres.
Really good run there from Trebojevic.
Cherry Evans, another last tackle kick, out towards Vunivalu. He was clipped. He was almost de-winged, but he still had the ball, and he's got a penalty as well.
Sensational under the high ball is Vunivalu. Fantastic take. But again, Manly do look dangerous down that right edge. They're actually getting in behind Melbourne's ruck, which surprises me a lot. There it is, Vunivalu. Brian Kelly almost acts as a decoy. No attempt to go for the football. But they're getting in behind Melbourne's ruck. There's a bit of space there.
I'd like to see Cherry Evans with his fifth tackle options get the kick a little higher and a little deeper. Just give his chasers an opportunity to get to the ball a little earlier.
Thanks, Marty. Jake.
Melbourne has now made its first change, and this man is on Glasby, the Newcastle nightbound. Tim Glasby on the field here for Christian Welsh. 24 minutes in, no tries on the board, just that Cherry Evans goal. Munster, maybe a chance this time. Slater across to Scott. Walker right there. 10 metres inside Manly's half. Been a while since they've been inside the 20 to Storm. And O'Carr.
Hold on, mate.
Fans get a little more excited right this point now as they are 21 metres out. Last tackle for the Storm. And it is Munster. He looked inside. He goes outside to Chambers. The kick off the leg of Kelly. They're saying not played at. Chambers says, you're kidding.
Oh, he played at this. Chambers is blowing up, and so he should. Nice pass from Munster out the Chambers. You know, he puts the kick in. Kelly puts a foot out. I'm sure of it. I'm sure he gets in the way of this kick deliberately. There it is.
Oh, yes.
Well, there it is. And that's big. Another set of 6 in attack for the Melbourne Storm up against the Manly Seagulls, who are under pressure. Down this end of the field will now be a feed to Manly. It's...
All the way in. Let's go. All the way in.
Well, at least they can smile about it.
Shot clock off all the way in.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Obviously not within the authority of the bunker to overturn that. They can do things over dead ball line and what have you. And they got a clear view of it. You know what I mean. Manly back to their 30. Coruscant to Powell. Oh, boy, what happened at the bottom of that? Brandon Smith.
Smith has been taking Tapau on. Tapau has run over the top of him twice, but he keeps coming back for more.
It was big. Now Cherry Evans, Manly start rushing. Tom Trbojevic. Chambers got him. Vunivalu, Kafusi join in. Kelly's unhappy about it. He grabs Vunivalu. Back to centre field. Manly with Lane now. 33 away. Last tackle with the Seagulls. What sort of kick have they got this time? Cherry Evans kicks it out towards the wing of O'Carr. And O'Carr will fly high. It's been knocked forward by Wright. Melbourne possession. Young Harry Grant is up on his feet on the bench, anxious to come on. Will be another to score a try on debut. We had young Stags up there for the Broncos last night. What a moment that was. We're glad to see another Queenslander enter the National Rugby League. A Storm ball with Munster on the 40. And Chambers again on the run. In the meantime, Asifa Solomona has gone off and Kenny Bromwich is on as Scott makes green.
And again, there's that dummy half running from the Melbourne Storm.
So the kick comes from Munster. And this one knocked back by Vunivalu. Still on, and the kick across field by Glasby. The Knights have signed themselves a kicker. And O'Carr is on the end of it. Then got the pass to Scott. And O'Carr wants 6 to go. The referees don't see it that way. And in all of that, I think Brandon Smith left the field for HIA. I think the tackle that he tried to pull off on Tapau has been reviewed and he's gone off for the HIA, and Harry Grant is now out there. It's one for Finchy to follow up, but he went straight up the tunnel.
And he's only played 11 games now, has Brendan Smith, but it's rare that he goes backwards. Such a great tackle technique. Marty Tapau shows the strength of Marty Tapau.
Lane with the ball. Well, it could certainly throw a spanner into the works if he was ruled out for the match, and the kid on debut has to play close enough to 60 minutes.
Some strong carries from Tom Trbojevic tonight. Great game last week against the Brisbane Broncos. He's followed it up again so far this evening. And Riley Drax has come up with a infringement. They're saying he stripped the ball, and there's a hand in there. There's definitely a little sneaky hand in there from Riley.
Quickly get an update on Smith from Brett Finch. What's the story?
Yeah, definitely HIA, boys. We see him taking on Marty Tapau. He's either extremely tough or a bit mad. I think he may be a bit of both, but he's in the sheds now for HIA.
All righty. So gone for at least 15, and Tapau to play it. 15 metres out from the line. Coruscant, Cherry Evans, and on it comes. Lane has been as busy as any forward early in the contest. That's his 7th hit up for the night. Back for DCE, switch of play. Coruscant goes short. Great defence by Cameron Munster on big Wittgenstein there. Again, Cherry Evans off for Trebojevic. Twisted and turned in the tackle. Tackle for it was. Manly closing in perhaps on the first try of the night. Cherry Evans, solid Melbourne defence right there. The purple wall. 9 metres from the line, last tackle. One of the kickers out of play. Back it comes for Walker to kick it across towards Adokar, and Scott makes it his own. He's pulled back to the in goal, but still able to play it. That's a lovely take by Scott. Hands above the head.
10 metres out.
Manly concede the penalty after all of that, but great play, Curtis Scott.
Really good from Curtis Scott. Dylan Walker unhappy. His kick wasn't too bad over that right-hand side. A little bit of indecision in that set of 6 from the Manly Seagulls. Coruscant looked right. Cherry Evans went left. It wasn't on. A great take here from Scott. They nearly get him back into the in-goal area. He does well to stay in the field of play. A penalty straight off the back of it. And already the Melbourne Storm nearly in Manly's half.
And then Scott takes the run off the free kick. It's his 120k the way he threw himself at the Manly defence. Played by Bromwich, and then Riley Jacks. Slater onto Kafusi. Kelly, well, he ended up on the deck in defence. He got no one there. The Manly centre. Grant to centre field. Queensland under-20s rep, and he's got jumper 20 on tonight. Playing in the position of Cameron Smith. Slater will kick, and back goes Uarte. He'll have to play it. Line drop out for Manly.
Billy Slater, in the absence of Cameron Smith and, of course, Cooper Cronk a long time ago, he's had his hands on the ball a lot more in the first and second receiver. He's playing like a half, even more so this evening. A nice little kick from Billy. It just holds up enough. Vunivalu wasn't going to get to the ball, but he put enough pressure on Uarte to have to take the ball over the dead ball line.
And when Billy Slater took the ball to the line, did you see the space back on his inside shoulder? I think that's a cue to the Melbourne Storm. Start to play back through the middle of Manly. They score more tries than any other team through the middle of oppositions, but they also concede the most through their own middle.
So from the line dropout, it is Glasby to bring the ball back for Melbourne. And a penalty is given again. This time the way of the home side. They trail 2-0. It's virtually right in front. Little discussion.
We're going to tap and go here, Vossi.
Given to Harry Grant for Finucane to run it forward. They don't even kick for the sideline.
Let go now, Jake. Come here, Frank to me.
So Grant with it. And across field he goes. Munster, plenty of bodies in motion here. Took a good tackle from Wittgenstein, and another penalty is conceded. Now Walker.
It's a push off.
We've got nothing at this stage, Rubbish.
A couple of short little jabs.
What started it all? Walker can be an angry man at times, and he gives Scott a bit of a workout.
That's all right. This is good.
Wait.
This is good. Aggression. The young fella comes in. He gets palmed off.
Yeah, Harry Grant.
Who are you?
And in let go.
Yeah, what is it? Old Terry Hill, some sledging. Serve greater. Now it comes away for Jacks. Melbourne are 9 metres away from the line. I want to see Grant have a little dash at the line. Here he is. He's got a chance. He's swamped there in the tackle of Lane, and it's another penalty. Now we've got the caution.
10 metres. Belly.
All right.
Here we go. He's called Dylan Walker over.
Penalty. That penalty's for Dylan Walker shooting up. They can't play out there, mate. Yeah? Fix your discipline now, because you're not going to like what happens next.
So Daly delivers the message. Perinara delivers the warning. We have to assume it is sin bin on the next one.
2 points.
And they will go for 2. we spoke about it Thursday night, that tactically, you know, do you take the tap and try and get another penalty out of your opposition in anticipation of the next one being big?
Well, the Tigers did it the other night. In this same situation, they took the tap. Trent Merrin held him down for a second too long. Merrin got 10 minutes in the bin. So it's definitely an option.
That's what we're getting.
You don't need to worry about that, mate. It's got
Well, it is more and more with what has happened this year. In fact, the next sin binning that we see after we had another one in Rabbitohs and Cowboys, it'll take us past the tally of sin binnings for all of last season. We've had 43 so far this year. The next will take us to a tally which will be the highest since season 2000. There's just some numbers crunched for you from the Fox Sports Lab, fellas.
It's an incredible statistic.
So over to Cameron Munster, a 52% kicker. He's 1 from 1 tonight. And a 2-all scoreline through 34 and a half minutes. I still think there could be plenty of points in this one. I think if you unlock the two attacks, we might see it, but not so far.
They've both controlled the football really well. There's only been 8 errors in the match, 4 apiece. Manly have dominated possession with 55, so I still think Manly's ruck looks vulnerable. When Melbourne Storm move the football, then go back in behind, they do look vulnerable. Melbourne Storm's left edge looks a bit vulnerable as well.
And 2 of Melbourne's past 3 wins over Manly have been by 20 points or more. Now Finucane turned into a pirate last week with his bandaging.
Jake, don't jump early.
Yeah, from his own line. Not sure when the NRL's pirate round is, as now Glasby has it. This is Grant. Working off to Bromwich. Delivers short to Hoffman. Hoffman in game 316 tonight. Storm at 10 metres inside Manly's half. Another very steady and adventurous set of 6. So we get to the last tackle. Jacks kicks high. Uarte is the man under pressure this time. Great take. Haku with the ball there. Only had eyes for the football. There's a certain amount of bravery when you get these big bodies coming through at you. So Seagulls turn with it. With 4 minutes remaining first half. Kelly. Yet to see Trent Hodkinson. Not quite sure where he fits with Walker in the sort of form he showed last week against Brisbane, and again busy tonight. Now Jake Trbojevic, Cherry Evans, right up, here's Tom. 2 on his outside, comes inside, and held by Jackson Slater. Well, Uarte wanted it on the left side. Thompson, Cherry Evans, a bomb. And this one will come down right on the goal line. Up goes the Fox.
We expect nothing less from Addo Carr. Beautiful take, gets up and above, safe as a house. But on this left-hand side, Cherry Evans created space for Tom Trbojevic. And he should have thrown the pass or squared up. He had a 3-on-2 with Kelly and Uarte. Decided to run the ball. A missed opportunity.
He just had to straighten. He ran all the defenders over to Kelly and Uarte.
Another set for Melbourne. Manly completing at 13 of 17. Melbourne 16 of 20. And this one, oh, there's the sin bin. So multiple penalties. It doesn't matter that it's up this end of the field. Manly will be down to 12.
I want to hear this. I want to hear this explanation.
I told you down there, your general discipline. This was the next one. That's what happens, mate.
That's the next one. So that's the next penalty from the warning on the try line.
Absolutely.
But when does, and we won't get bogged down in discussion, but it is the grey area. When does time elapse? So if that penalty had carried over to 41st minute, would it be sin bin? Teams are going to give away penalties at some time. Now, this is at the other end of the field. It's a different context to goal line defence. Anyway, Henry Perinara has ruled Manly are with 12, and they will be for 7.5 minutes of the second half as well. Here's Jacks with the ball. Bladed and Shepherd old school obstruction and penalty blown as Glasby ran through the hole. And there you have it. What a mess for Melbourne.
And that's the poster for a good old obstruction. Look at this. Straight around the back of the decoy runner, a blatant obstruction. And a golden opportunity because down to 12 men attacking the line. They haven't had much football down this end. A big missed opportunity for the Melbourne Storm.
Certainly was. Only a couple of minutes heading into half-time.
Just in line with him, Ryan. Thanks, mate.
Wait here. Don't go early.
A chance to get the first try of the match and take the lead just before half-time. Would have been big for Melbourne.
So Seagulls with the ball. What about the man who has to go off for Manly? I mean, you're talking about just about their hardest worker, if not the hardest worker in the Manly side. 22 metres away from the Melbourne line. What a bonus if they could get any sort of points right now. Here goes Tom, quickly short side. Kelly with a juggle. Chambers on him. It'll be quite the test for young Kelly tonight against an Origin and Test player in Chambers. Uarte right across field. Well tackled by Grant. Last play for Manly. Coruscant to Cherry Evans and passes flat. Tom Trbojevic steps and swerves back in field. The grubber kick is a horror show.
Well, it was individual brilliance from Tom Trbojevic, but they've had so much success over on their right edge, and they constantly persist with going down this left edge. It was man on man. It was just the brilliance of Tom Trbojevic that created the half opportunity.
Together, Dylan.
We're told that Brandon Smith should be right for the second half for Melbourne.
Thanks, Adam. Hold here.
Middle for the HIA. So Grant, along for Bromwich, then Slater, now Kafusi, Vunivalu will take on Uarte. The ball is dumped inside, but the flag is up. To Fijian Flyers up against each other. Nice show of respect as they got back to their feet there. And with so much try-scoring potential out there, we've had 40 minutes without a four-pointer. Super Saturday here on Fox League half-time. It is Melbourne and Manly 2-2. As the Storm come back, we've been told that Brandon Smith has passed his HIA. And should be out there. In fact, he is. He's returned for the second half. Let's go down to Brett Finch with the Melbourne coach.
Good arm wrestle, mate. Not many opportunities for the boys there in the first half.
No, there wasn't. You know, we were a little bit probably disjointed. You know, without Adam Smithy out there. You know, we practiced hard during the week, but again, you know, I thought, you know, our effort was great. You know, with them without the ball. Just like to get a little bit more ball up their end and see how we go there. But you know, I'm really happy with the effort. We just need to be a little bit better at our execution.
Good luck in the second half, mate.
Thanks, mate. See ya.
And it is a night where Craig Bellamy becomes the 5th most capped coach of all time, moving ahead of Bob Fulton tonight. Second half underway. Manly possession for Sean Lane in that 2-2 scoreline. Manly's only victory down here at Amy Park was back in 2015 when they won by 2 points, 12 points to 10. They'd actually trailed 10-2 at half-time. They have only 3 wins in total this season, but their best performance was last week against Brisbane. Kelly angles back in field. So tonight where perhaps a field goal will play a part, you sense, based on what's happened so far. Winterstein with it.
Last
tackle Manly, down to 12 for the first 7.5 minutes. Jake Trbojevic in the sin bin, and they'll try and keep the ball out of play as much as possible.
And Daly Cherry-Evans was just in the background there. He went to come across to the short side, and Dylan Walker said, no, I've got it. And you could see Daly Cherry-Evans say, you make sure you kick it into touch. And you're exactly right, Vossi. That's because they are down to 12 men. They've lost one of their biggest inspirations in Jake Trbojevic, so they'll be wanting to keep the ball out of play as much as possible.
They're down to 12 men, but it takes Slater, Vunivalu and Adokar out of the play if they do find touch. I mean, that's an awesome back three, and 3 enormous attacking options for the Melbourne Storm that Manly take out of play if they kick it over the sideline.
Intrepid reporter Brett Finch is also at half-time chased up referee Henry Perinara just for a quote on the sin binning of Jake Trbojevic. Finchy, what did you find out?
Yeah, just quickly, boys. Henry just said because there was a general discipline problem for Manly, the next penalty for the same indiscretion was to go to the bin. So it didn't matter where on the field or how much longer. So it was a general discipline problem, and Henry made that call.
Well, there's another penalty. Do you put another in the bin or not?
So does it reset?
That's what you... Reset, reboot. Melbourne had possession. Vunivalu caught but offloaded. Crowd thought markers weren't square. Chambers now with it. Melbourne, after taking the tap, tried to play for a penalty as well. Now 21 metres away from the line. How quickly things can change. The Storm with Smith. Across he goes, straighten up, running hard at Coruscant. 11 from the line, 4 tackles up for Melbourne. Finucane and Glasby, they get up in his face. Roger Lane's working hard. Now another penalty conceded. I know where we're going. You want us to keep calling the action, but you've got to ask the question, so where does the sin bin come back? Where have Manly improved their discipline after the sin bin?
Yeah, there's just so many stoppages at the moment, and we just want to see free-flowing rugby league. Unfortunately, another penalty, this time against, well, it's against Manly, and they've been offside on their own try line all night. According to the referees, that is. And again, we have another stoppage, and it looks like it's going to get to 4 points to 2. 3 penalty goals, and there it is. As we see the play the ball.
Winterstein, the man who was penalised. And in the meantime, Cameron Munster has banged over the shot. He certainly didn't waste any time with it.
I was going to say, quick. He placed the ball, ran backwards, ran straight in.
I say, if you're not a regular kicker, probably not such a bad idea.
Well, on top of that, again, why don't we emphasise the point? They are down to 12 men. I think the Melbourne Storm really fancy their opportunity. I wouldn't be surprised if they shift the ball this set.
Well, that's a surprise they didn't take the tap then with 13
well,
and 12.
Exactly. Yeah, I was surprised that they did that.
Good call. Lathan Asta. And this one, yeah, and that's all you have to do. That's out of the full. You only have to touch it. You don't have to catch it. Ryan Hoffman did the right thing there. You do not have to catch the ball. He had his foot on the line or over the sideline.
Lucky he didn't have to catch it because he never looked like he was going to catch the
catch
ball.
it, no.
Here it is. Oops, that's enough. That's enough.
My groin would be well and truly ripped if I tried to do that stretch. And now, can you believe that? Can you believe that? On the first tackle, Melbourne have coughed it up. Boy, oh boy, the sloppy Storm. That's a headline that is being written out of tonight.
There's been a lot of confusion in their attack. Scott just comes up with the error. But I tell you what, they were lucky to even get the ball into touch. While that replay was happening down the other end, Munster shanked it off the side of his boot and it just went into touch.
It's very, very un-Melbourne-like, and Craig Bellamy said it to Brett Finch at half-time. It's their execution. They can't get their execution right. They are struggling. Of course, they've got Cameron Smith out. It has had a huge influence on their performance this evening.
And Manly have possession. And it was going to be 7.5 minutes into the second half before Jake Trbojevic returns. So a few more minutes to get through for the Seagulls, and only 2 points damage done on the scoreboard. Now they get a penalty of their own with Finucane Ping.
Well, that's the 17th penalty for the match.
They come in. They come in short bursts. The penalties. They disappear. And they come 3 or 4 at a time. And they disappear again.
A lot of coaches say they train now to defend back-to-back sets or big chunks of possession because penalties have gone that way. But whoever controls their discipline tonight, you would think will come out on top.
Stay here. Go.
Manly with Tom Trbojevic. And now for Lane. Just on his stats, Sean Lane has 25 tackles and 10 hit-ups. He leads both counts for Manly tonight. And a big work rate. Cherry Evans, on it comes with Winterstein. Game for the year for Frank after he played every match last year. Now Cherry Evans runs into a dead end there and caught by Glasby. But Manly, one man short, happy to have possession and at this end of the park. Now Coruscant, Fanua Blake, he almost sights a hole. Nice angle run from Adam Fanua Blake. 15 away from the line. 2 tackles remain. Walker, on it came for Sully. Sully will be called to play it a metre out. Winterstein, last tackle. Oh, terrible pass over the head of Walker. Fanua Blake, has he got a kick? No. Cherry Evans does. And he kicks towards the corner. Look out. Here they come. Oh, just goes touching goal. Or does it? Matthew Wright has chased and chased and chased. The touch judge, I'm not sure. I think he thinks it may have touched the line and therefore it is out. But Wright
tackle 6
has taken it from. Oh, he says try.
I agree with Henry Perinara.
Matthew Wright.
Matthew Wright is onside off the kick chase.
He's onside. Now let the match race start. And he's the only one in it. Look at him. He leaves Munster behind. The ball is there in goal. Does it touch? No, it doesn't touch the line. Right with the ball. Now the put down on the dive. Get it down, son. Oh, yes. Lucky he doesn't have long fingernails because that's a 4-pointer.
And Daly Cherry Evans, he was actually trying to kick for the sideline to wind the clock down, as they have done since the absence of Jake Trbojevic. And Wright, how often have we seen
the ball
it?
stays in the field of play.
The team that loses a man to the sin bin scores the try.
Well, they're examining the fingertip.
Matthew Wright stays in the field of play and grounds the ball. We have a decision.
You betcha he does. What a dramatic moment. Have you seen a try like that before? Matthew Wright, talk about go the nth degree with effort.
Well, this is just a genuine case of fighting to the death, never giving up, chasing and chasing and chasing this ball, and he gets there before anyone else. Munster stops for a split second. He thinks it's going out. He thinks the play is over. Cherry Evans is looking for the sideline. Comes off the back of Curtis Scott. It's precision. It's perfect. What a finish.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Gas.
I love it. How good is the modern day winger at scoring a try? Amazing situations. You saw Fusa Tua had no right to score a try.
And Cherry Evans just misses. Matthew Wright's gone from the field too as a result of that. He's on the sideline now. I think he's done a hamstring in chasing that, or on the leap to score, which adds merit to the performance. He's pulled up lame. That might be the last we see of Matthew Wright tonight. I think Trent Hodkinson has gone out there for the Sea Eagles in his big return to Manly.
Josh.
The former Bulldog, former Knight, former Shark.
So you'd think that Sully's will move to the wing.
Exactly.
And Walker will move to the right centre, and that means Hodkinson will move into the halves to join Cherry Evans.
Manly lead by 2, so the run of Storm first tries here at Amy Park comes to an end, and it's taken 49 minutes to get the first 4-pointer of the night. Coruscant, will it open the floodgates? Manly inside their 40, and it is 13 on 13 now. Trbojevic has returned.
Together, Cameron.
On halfway, Jake Trbojevic, there he is. On it comes, Hodkinson, almost forward. First touch, in fact, I'm sure it was.
It was forward. His first touch. Oh, he got away with one there, Trent.
Now Tom Trbojevic.
Last tackle,
Nice tackle front on by Kafusi. Last play, Manly, Coruscant. And a short side, Hodkinson allowed to run. And the kick, a falling Vunivalu stops it going through. Let's go down to the sideline. Brett Finch on Dylan Walker.
Yeah, he's had a great first 50 minutes there, boys. At 5'8", he's moved back to his centre position, but I must admit, I've been watching him closely. Geez, he's ruffling a few feathers. He's been sledging, he's been ripping into the opposition, and certainly keeping his boys highly motivated. As we see an error here from Josh Adokar.
Again, the sloppy Storm. I don't know what else you can say about them yet. Another incomplete set.
We mentioned it in the first half. They're 15th for errors. I've never seen them make this many errors, particularly over the opening 4 rounds. It was quite astonishing.
Yeah, you're spot on, Gaz. The first month, they showed plenty of signs of this, and everyone was surprised, a little shocked, because it was so un-Melbourne-like. And then they found their groove again, started playing some sensational footy, and they've just fell into a little slump the last couple of weeks. 19 of 27 sets from the Melbourne Storm completed.
Cherry Evans from the scrum. Manly, Tom Trbojevic takes a good tackle from Munster to stop him. Walker, Cherry Evans, Jake Trbojevic this time. Manly leading by 2. 10.5 minutes into the second half. Coruscant and Hodkinson, Cherry Evans, a little bit of width there. Tom Trbojevic on to Kelly. Last line is Jacks and Chambers. Try-saving defence. Uarte, what a pass. Were they onside, were they offside? Referee says they were onside.
Well, Kelly just mistimed that. He wanted the kick, but it was great hands from Tom Trbojevic.
Oh, Melbourne have dropped it again. Vernavalu loses it this time. In a tackle from Coruscant. What has happened to the Melbourne Storm? Hands like Dolphins flippers. They're 10 away from the line. Manly in possession. Coruscant for Jake Trbojevic. Then Hodkinson. Then DCE for Walker, who passes to no one.
Touch.
Sully had run through. They're going to say touch by Melbourne. Manly will get a scrum feed out of it. And Walker and Scott are at it again. Finchie called it. And these two angry ants, Dylan Walker and Curtis Scott, they might have to take it out the back of the grandstand.
Well, I don't know what Scott said there, but he got a definite reaction from Dylan Walker.
Will, it started at the scrum. Let's leave it.
Will Chambers, he's never far from it.
Shocked to see Will Chambers in there.
He's after Fanua Blake. He only goes after the biggest and meanest, Will.
It was great play, though, Cherry Evans.
Oh, they're at it again, boys. As we watch the replay. They've turned it on again. Hello, the Battle of Brookvale is returning some years on here at Amy Park. This spilled over before the scrum was due to pack. The push and the shove. Walker's been taken out the back by Tom Trbojevic. He says, come on, Dylan, you have to leave the scene of the crime here. We've got a scrum feed.
Take your team to a 20.
And again, Curtis Scott must have said something because he got a definitive reaction out of Dylan Walker. Both teams, the senior players in each team, trying to calm them down.
I think there's more to it. I think Walker caught one in the head this time. Just wait and see what happens next.
Billy, nothing is going to
This is the first one. The first time it fires up. Then they part and someone throws a little bit of petrol on the fire again. And off it goes, and there you go. Curtis Scott has gone for it.
He's just kinged him.
And
Wow.
we are going to threaten a send-off here.
That's a king hit.
now. Okay. Ziggy. You keep them there.
Lucky you can't throw him.
Well, here we go.
You don't see that too often these days, Bossy.
The rivalry of Melbourne and Manly. They might both lose a player here.
Real strong.
This started in the first half.
Well, they can't. Well, they're going to send Dylan Walker for that.
Yep.
I mean, Curtis Scott, he's gone. There's no
Curtis
doubt
is
about
gone.
that. We know that, but
Okay.
look at that.
Okay, so
I mean, how's that?
any other punches other than that? No other punches?
Wow.
Okay.
That's...
Yep.
All right, Henry Perenara is getting the report from the bunker. All right, you're watching it live on Fox League. See what happens next, and he's been sent off. It's no send, Ben. Curtis Scott is sent off. The send-off still exists. You thought it was dead and buried, and young Curtis Scott has his marching orders here.
So
12 minutes into the second half.
Correct? No other punches thrown.
And Dylan Walker, he has the knack of getting under the skin of oppositions, and he's got the better of Curtis Scott on this occasion because he has given in, he has folded.
I'm not, that's what I'm saying.
And he has thrown a flurry of punches that has cost him and his side now. He's gone for the rest of the match.
Dylan.
It may have cost an origin jumper too, Braith. Freddie Fitton.
It's this one that gets him.
You're going for 3.
And now in the sin bin goes Dylan Walker.
What for?
Walker's off to the sin bin for his role in the, well, it may be the original aggression, to be honest. I don't know.
He's allowed to say whatever he wants. I mean, I don't think that his behaviour is warranted, but is it warranted 10 minutes in the bin just because Curtis Scott reacted like that?
No, it's not.
Please.
Well, the caution coming now from the referee.
Ends now.
The trouble's gone, mate. Hey, boy.
Agree or disagree with Dylan Walker? I think that's a bad decision.
Hey?
What a moment.
So you want me to put him in the bin as well?
Oh, hang on a second.
God.
Is that correct?
This is the bunker reviewing all of what happened from the
Belly.
second flurry.
Belly.
Stay with Mr. Perinara.
Uppy. Uppy.
This is Appy Coruscant. He may as well come up in the commentary box with us.
Rules are, if you throw a punch, you automatically go to the sin bin, correct? Yeah, you know it. So Uppy, you can go too.
Well, there you go. So Appy Coruscant, well, now I've got to work it out, and I don't think I can work it out. So Curtis Scott has been sent off for good. Appy Coruscant is off to the bin. The referee says he also threw a punch.
Exactly.
Not sure. We'll have to get back to Appy's giving the thumbs up to the crowd. This is a sensation in Melbourne. Right of frame, Appy Coruscant throws one over the top and gets the left ear of Curtis Scott.
So then he has to go to the bin for the full game as well. I do not agree with Dylan Walker being sent off or getting 10 in the bin, but he is correct. If you throw a punch, they came down hard on that, you go to the sin bin. Not for 10 minutes for the game.
Last send-off was round 22, 2015. A shout-out to Dave Shillington. Last minute of play. Was it the headbutt, the scrum, I think, from memory?
Braith got 10 in the bin for getting punched.
Yes, he did. Now Martin Tapau will try and stay with the play. And whenever we get a bit of downtime, we'll try and explain Pythagoras' theorem and everything else that confuses you. As now Hodkinson offloads it. Fanua Blake.
Together now, Ryan.
Will play it 4 metres away from the line. There's 27 to go. Anything could happen there. Tom Trebojevic floats it over the top. Uarte is over the sideline. How many players we got out there, by the way? We've got 11 versus 12 here.
And I'll tell you what, I reckon they were all just about in screen and they were purple. The amount of numbers the Melbourne Storm got there to save that try. Akula Uarte, he backed himself to get in the corner, but there was just a sea of purple.
Manly's got 11 players right at the moment. And look at the numbers across here. Let's go down to the sideline. Brett Finch is ringside.
Oh, they've brought the crowd into it, these decisions, boys. I'm not too sure about the Dylan Walker one myself. I'm with you, Braith, but I think Coruscant, if that's a third man in punch from the side, is that any different to what Curtis Scott did?
No, it's exactly.
Should he be sent off as well? I think Dylan Walker still should be on the field. He's protecting himself. But Coruscant has punched someone in the side of the head from a position where he wasn't involved.
100%
Spot on, Finchy.
Well
Spot
said.
on, mate.
Yeah. Why not send off? So, I don't know whether we can settle down. 26 to go. 6-4 scoreline. Manly over Melbourne, and now Melbourne, the disjointed, untidy, scrappy, sloppy Storm have made another error.
And they had the overlap too. Addo Carr was away down this left-hand side. It was an overlap, I don't know how, but they did. And here it is, long pass, Munster. On to Chambers, short pass, Sully comes in. The whistle had blown, but they still had them beat. Addo Carr was away, and again, another mistake. Unforced error from the Melbourne Storm.
And what Craig Bellamy wouldn't give to have Cameron Smith out on the field right now, just purely for his leadership. Look at the completions, 2 from 7 for the Melbourne Storm in this second half. They've reached double figures with the errors. That gets them up to 10.
All right, when do we see some football again in this one? How do the two teams settle down after all of that? Hodkinson with it. Tapau now has it for Manly. An amazing turn of events here. Cherry Evans, Jake Trebojevic, Manly lead by 2, this time Seagulls error. Kafosi offloads it back for Chambers.
And Will Chambers.
Oh, hang on there, they're pushing and shoving again.
Hang on.
Well, they were pushing Suliasi, who was looking to get to dummy half, Joel Thompson.
Well, Vunivalu pushes Joel Thompson, and Thompson pushes him back, and then Melbourne get the penalty. I don't know what's going on here.
Beautifully explained. This is a powder keg.
There it is.
It's already gone off.
Oh,
There's another one ready. Storm on their 40-metre line. So much time left in this game. You thought the send-off, it had disappeared from our game. Glasby is to halfway. But I don't know where we stand in multiple infringement sin binnings, because we must be getting close to another one. Hoffman off Munster. Melbourne really need to make the most of this one-man advantage. He's lost the ball. Well, Craig Bellamy. Someone get him a sick bag or an oxygen tank or both. Their completion rate has gone south.
I can't remember the last time a team completed a set. He's filthy. He disappeared. He went to the wall, probably punched it. He's come back.
The completion rate overall is 20 of 32. In the second half, it is 2 of 8. This is the defending premiers, albeit with some key personnel out. But
what a crazy manic 17 minutes in this second half.
Coming, mate.
It's probably an understatement.
what a super Saturday it has been here
Fun to
on
watch.
Fox League. Yes,
Fun to watch.
Great fun to watch. Manly's turn to have the ball. Jake Trebojevic up to halfway. Just one try scored in the match. And now Cherry Evans back forward to Powell. I'm watching an 11-man Manly side here play. What's this, the home of the Melbourne victory? We're used to seeing 11 here. Hodkinson off to Fanua Blake. And he backs his way up to the 20. Well, they scored with 12 men. Can they score with 11? Tom Trebojevic has a crack. Kelly with it. Uwate this time. A go. Uwate scores at the corner for Manly. The 11-men Seagulls. We will check it with a bunker. But Uwate has certainly sold it well. He's in no doubt.
Uwate, does he get it down? Vunivalu comes in late. He stopped him last time, but he won't stop him this time. Very close, but he just gets the ball down. Let's have a look at his back foot. That's in the field of play. His left elbow comes mighty close to the sideline. The foot's in play, the elbow is in the air, and it's a try. It's a try to Uwate with 11 men on the field. They have somehow created an overlap.
It's another incredible wingers finish, boys. I mean, we take this for granted now, Gaz.
Happy that
Aquila
Uwate grounds the football, just trying to determine that he stays in the field of play.
I'm with you, Braith. I think he stays in the field of play. And you're spot on, Bossy. You got to remember, Suliasi Vunivalu, he is one strong human being. Aquila Uwate, same can be said.
Aquila Uwate's left arm stays off the ground and he grounds the ball and remains in the field of play. We have a decision. And
it was a lovely shift out to the left edge, because the previous occasion, Will Chambers came flying out of the line and shut the play down and came up with an error. They went through the hands nice and quick. Tom Trebojevic this time got the ball out to Kelly quick enough, who got it onto Uwate, and you're right, what a finish.
Well, this is better than the Royal Wedding, boys. Don't worry about that. What we're seeing here. You don't want this to end. You have no idea what's going to happen in the last 22 minutes of this one.
Braith couldn't believe he's just said that.
I'm sorry.
What wedding? Is there a wedding on?
Well,
this was just pure speed. and perfect execution. It's man on man, but Trbojevic to be able to get on the outside of Glasby and then bring in the right-hand side defence of the Melbourne Storm with 11 men up against 12. A Herculean effort to even get over the stripe. Big kick.
Yeah, leading by 6 from the touchline, DCE. He's 5 from 11 from the left touchline this season. Here he goes. Daly Cherry Evans has missed to the left. Margin is 6, 21.5 to go. Brett Finch, you've been up and about since the last send-off and sin biddings. Can you add anything to it?
Oh, Vossi, I was nearly asleep for the first 50 minutes, but you don't condone it, but it's brought this game alight. The crowd's involved in it. For Melbourne Storm, they've got to stop worrying about fighting and get some discipline back with completing some sets and put some pressure on the Manly Seagulls. But, yeah, can you believe it? Manly down to 11 men and create the overlap and score.
Well, scored with 12 men when it was 12 versus 13. Wright scores the first try, and now 11 against 12. Scored the second 4-pointer.
Trent Barrett might not let the boys back on. He might tell them to stay down there.
Let's get into the next chapter of this one. Tapau on the run back. Overall penalty count is 11-8 to Melbourne. So it's swinging back Manly's way at the moment. And they lead by 6. Might even be a night where you just want to get 7 in front. You might want more than the converted try a long way from home, knowing that your opponent is going to be down a man for the remainder of the game. Manly on halfway. I can report too that Matt Wright has returned from the dressing room. He's on the sideline. Tom Trbojevic takes off. Munster gives the jersey a good stretching. Last tackle, Manly, Cherry Evans will try and take it out of play. And he does that.
Zig, you can come and take this one.
It's a beautiful kick from Cherry Evans, and one player on the field that is loving the extra space out there is Tom Trbojevic. It's opened up for him. There are only 11 players on, and there's 12 on the opposition, but that extra few metres he's really capitalising on, Gaz.
And you also saw there, Braith, what it does is it has to make the front rowers travel a lot. By that I mean you just saw Glasby get caught on the short side, one-on-one with Tom Trbojevic, and we all know that is a mismatch.
Happy Coruscant back on the field, boys.
Wait, Cameron. Time's off. Wait, Cameron. Shot clock off. Shot clock off. Let's go.
Didn't he go off after? Well,
yeah, Frank Panisi's just blown up here, boys.
Yeah, now this doesn't work for me. I can't work this out at all. So are you? Now I'm just thinking Dylan Walker must be in a HIA. This is where this would be confusing. Walker with the shiner, I think is having an HIA, I assume.
You've stuffed up, Matt. You've stuffed up.
Frank Panisi, football manager for Melbourne, is now trying to clear that up. And now Matt Wright comes on as the replacement for Dylan Walker, who is sin-binned, but is having a HIA.
Well, that's correct, because his time expired.
So he has to be 15 minutes off the field. Brett Finch, you saw Frank Panisi front on. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, the Melbourne football manager wasn't happy. He was saying there's an extra 2 minutes on their clock, so a bit of a dispute over how long Appy had left in the bin, but 2 minutes the Melbourne Storm said he had left.
Well, if he had 2 minutes, so did Dylan Walker, or the replacement who's come back on for Dylan Walker. There's another sensation. We're going to have to check Melbourne in the meantime. 31 metres away from the line, Slater, Munster. They want it out left. Here it comes, on the bounce. Hoffman keeps it going. Then a little dead throw from Stimson. Oh, and O'Carr lost the ball.
No advantage. Change over here, Zig.
Change over Manly possession. Work out the position, so Stimpson's playing left centre here for Melbourne.
And he puts in a kick that comes off Sully's legs. Now, if Adokar catches that, he either scores or has a chance of throwing it back on the inside to Hoffman. They got lucky with the bounce, but if he holds on to that ball there, could have easily have scored a try. Another big turning point in this game. Melbourne just can't control the footy. 11 errors so far in this match.
We'll try and go back over the time the players in the sin bin, because that's a big story. If they've mucked up the timekeeping, that is also a sensation here. Cherry Evans with the ball now, off to Sully, running at Munster. Some big tackles to make tonight. Cameron Munster for Melbourne. Wright I still don't think he's 100%. Matt Wright as now Coruscant caught by Kafusi. Manly settle it down, 35 out from the line with a kick on the last, out towards Addo-Carr. The Fox can do anything from there, not this time though.
Stand on the mark.
Storm would want to be next to score. So it's 13 on 12 for the, well, for the time being. I won't say for, I can't say for sure and certain it'll be for the rest of the night.
I think the Storm will just be happy to complete a set.
Release!
Well, they're on their 40. Slater, Finucane, passing along to Asifa Solomona.
Jake, let go. And then Joel. Go 4.
And into the half of Manly they go. Finucane offloads. Jack's quick hands. Smith with it. Brandon Smith. Showed a bit of strength and speed there. And was that a second tackle? Yes, it was. Penalty conceded on the last. By the way, in our book, we had Curtis Scott set off in the 52nd minute, and surely time was stopped for all of that. It took about, what, 2-3 minutes to settle it all down. You'd have to say all players are dismissed in the 52nd minute of play. And if that's the case, well then I'm fine with Coruscant coming back on, but that can be confirmed later. Munster on to Slater.
Tackle 2, Daly. Stand the goal line. Stand the goal line.
Now 10 metres out. Stimson. Munster straightens a jink. Right side, Smith. Finucane. Caught by Thompson. Vanua Blake. Jake Trebojevic all there. Melbourne's chance. Slater on to Ben Nelson. How did they stop him?
Great defence.
Extraordinary stuff on the goal line. And now Slater spins at a dummy half across to Jacks. Jacks out to Chambers. Burns Kelly takes on Uarte, but does he score? He may be held up. The bunker will have the final say. Manly reckon they've stopped it.
5. No try. Confirm the held up, please.
What a contrast to a first half that had very little in it.
That was amazing. Live, I have to admit, it didn't look like he got the football down. Uarte just holds the ball up. He goes to turn over. Kelly comes in to help out. Trbojevic is there. Well, this is quite a special effort from the Sea Eagles. Will Chambers just burned Kelly on the outside. It looked like he was going to score. And Uarte.
Will Chambers has lost possession of the ball before going over the try line. We have a decision, or over the try line, we have a decision.
Well, this is superhuman from Uarte to stop State of Origin, Australian, Premiership winning Will Chambers that close to the line is unbelievable. What a play from Uarte.
He's lost the ball in the tackle, so it's a knock on. It's a scrum here, Manly.
Surely that's raked out from Uarte, not lost from Chambers.
Scrum here.
And they're saying he's lost control in the tackle. There was well, his hands all over the ball, then he's got the hands over the ball to stop the try.
Joel, come on.
Look, Pow, he's having a laugh. Well, at least they're enjoying themselves, the boys.
Could be on again.
Good, time's off. We got 4. Billy, you in?
Predict the old-fashioned headbutt.
The 11 on 10.
Okay, ball in.
Old Liverpool kiss.
Coming, mate.
Not here. Not right now. So we are going back over the tapes now because the sin betting length of time off the field, Sully with it. There is now some suggestion that he's come back early. We'll have that for you. There's Wright. Well, Wright's grabbed Munster. Wasn't the case of Munster grabbing Wright. The attacker grabbed the defender. This time Cherry Evans is 9 metres inside his own half. So then to Setterfield, Hodkinson to Powell. On halfway.
Last tackle. Square up. Don't go early.
Now we are going to say, well, this is a very big story developing. Cherry Evans kicks. Addo-Carr intercepts. Stand by. This is from our tapes people at Fox Sports. He was in the sin bin, both players, for 1 minute 41 seconds short of time. That is what we have by the game clock, 1 minute 41 short. That's not one player, that is two players. Coruscant and Wright, who came back on as a substitute for Walker. This is a sensation. I don't know what they do. Do you talk about docking competition points? This ain't going to be over at 80 minutes. That's what I'm trying to say. Kafusi with a ball. He offloads. Chambers tries a kick. Ioane has fallen over. And somehow Tom Trbojevic there to cover.
How do you get that? How do you get the 10 minutes wrong?
Well, how
do you get the 10 minutes wrong?
How does the NRL not control the time of players? I mean, surely can't be the role of the club that it has to be independently judged. I mean, you can have your clock running fast. I don't know, but look, it's just amazing what's happened here. We are saying, and we're not doing this to create false drama. By our count, we have gone back over the tape. The players have returned 1 minute and 41 seconds before their 10 minutes was up.
Well, you know what, Bossy? If it has happened, you speak of competition points. Don't do it. Go and tell them. Get them to play the extra 1 minute 40. Take a Manly player off. Because the effort out here is quite phenomenal.
So let's stick with the play. 13 minutes to go. This one could be settled in the courtroom, so to speak. To Powell with the ball. And look how he ran over the top of again. Brandon Smith. He's already had one HIA trying to tackle Marty. To Powell, slow to his feet on halfway. Coruscant, Tom Trbojevic. Almost lost it. Kelly will play it 37 away. They've taken the wrong sport to China this weekend, I know that. I don't know what the Shanghai people thought of the AFL this afternoon, but they'd love this. Give them this next year. And now Coruscant takes off. He passes to Hodkinson. He delivers to Cherry Evans, who does the same as Sully. He doesn't pass to an unmarked Wright in the corner.
He had to pass.
His arms up, and he wasn't saying hallelujah. Now Cherry Evans kick. Back up. Tom Trbojevic put the turbos on to score the try. But hang on, the referee, Henry Perinara, again will refer this.
Tackle 6, try. Just confirm that the contact with Dale Finucane is incidental, please, mate.
You take it over, boys. I need a little rest.
But what a kick this is. So we're looking at the contact on Dale Finucane. He's near the
Manly's
right
left side
post
kick
in
chase
front
is
of that.
onside.
Does he get taken out of play? Well, he does, but it's when it's all over. It's done and dusted. Trbojevic is 3 metres ahead of him in getting to this ball. The kick from Cherry Evans is a pearler. Right on the money. He's too fast. Trbojevic, he's run past Finucane, but you'll see Hodkinson jumps on his back for no apparent reason. It's a stupid play from Hodkinson. A stupid play.
Well, I think in his defence, I think he was watching the football, Braith, and then it just caught Finucane really late, tried to get out of the way, but ended up jumping on top of him.
But what happens here? Because the ball's gone past Finucane, he's not getting anywhere near it, but Hodkinson does take him out, but it doesn't affect the play.
There was no way he was going to get to that football.
It's just a collision between Manly and Storm player. We're playing onto this process.
All right, play on. Tom will get this down.
Tom Trbojevic takes possession of the ball cleanly and grounds the ball.
It's a try that will turn 4 into 6 and a 6-point lead into 12 against a 12-man Melbourne Storm, but Manly in a position where who knows what's going to happen.
Well, celebrate the play, Bossy. The shift to the right first and foremost. Wright should have been in the corner. Moses Sully just held the football. And then Daly Cherry Evans, a great little kick off the outside of the boot to curl it round. And Tom Trbojevic, I tell you what, in the absence of Scott, he has grown another leg, has Tom Trbojevic. Braith mentioned it, the space that's opened up and presented to him, he has capitalised on it. And you put it in context for Manly and their fans. They were 1 from 6 heading into this game. They'd been through the Jackson Hastings drama. The confusion, I guess, are in the circumstances around the potential sale of the club. Manly fans have been through the ringer over the last 6 weeks, and if they are to go on and win this game, we could look back in 2018 and go, this is one of the most decisive wins at the club.
But I know and we do have time to talk about
Don't do it,
possible.
Bossy.
Well, we've got time as the kick will be successful from Hodkinson for 16-4, just on the possibility of being stripped of competition points. If you have one extra man on for 30 seconds for a minute, look, we've had instances of it. Manly have had 2 extra players on. If it is their infringement, then I'm saying it is a very real possibility here.
2 players on for a minute 40 longer than what they should have been.
But it's always been my understanding that while the respective clubs keep time, it is the NRL's job. It is an NRL official's job.
It is.
To keep the time. So Manly's defence will be, well, you said go on. And if you give us the green light, we're going to go on. So that's the situation. It is an NRL's job, timekeeping job. The Storm have the ball. 16-4 scoreline.
Stay here.
But the respective clubs do keep time, obviously, as well, to check it. So Storm on the 20 with 10.5 to go. Look, they may still win in normal time, Mel. There is time to win it. Munster has the ball. He goes out the back to Slater. Slater to Stimson. Tackled by Sully. Adokar. Slater now. The captain doesn't want to lose in his debut as skipper. Across. Great hands, Kafusi. Chambers will take on Kelly. Passes for Vunivalu. Terrific defence from there. Oh, then passed off the ground. He was held and passed off the ground.
And this is a big effort from Trent Hodkinson. Some question his mobility in defence and his ability to move laterally. On this occasion, comes up with a big tackle on Vunivalu. He was held, his elbow hit the ground. It was a pass off the ground. It's the right decision. And Trent Hodkinson come up with a big play.
So, settling play down Manly. They are in the box seat leading by 12. And just trying to think when did Melbourne last not score a try? Well, there was that match against the Sharks round 6 last year at Amy Park. This time they didn't score in a game here. But then against Manly, the only time they've never scored a try against their opponent was that 40-0 grand final. On halfway now. And Marty Tapau with it. Well, now a field goal becomes a big play if Manly want to take that option. You have to think Melbourne wouldn't come back from 13 down. We know Cherry Evans can kick them. He can kick them off either foot. Hodkinson's pretty good at it as well. Working out on that left side with Thompson. So we never saw Walker return to the match. Now another penalty against Melbourne. They ran out of fingers and toes on the penalty count. It's up to 12-11. If you want to take a shot from wide out and lead by 14, that's an option. Hodkinson's taken over the kicking.
You can take it back if you want. You're going to take 2?
And they will take the shot. Daly happy to hand over the responsibility to Trent Hodkinson.
And here's the penalty. Chambers over the top. Elbow on the head. Penalty to the Manly Seagulls. Now, the Melbourne Storm, they've struggled with their attack, and I believe a lot of it has to do with Slater in moving into that playmaker role. He comes into first or second receiver, which then takes his effectiveness away with his support play and his combination with the halves and hooker. So, I mean, he's in there trying to create something, but it takes him out of that role that he's been so phenomenal at for a long period of time.
And that's the thing, Braith. If he does get into first receiver, he either plays out the back of a decoy to Munster, but then you've got Riley Jacks, who's normally in Billy Slater's position, and with the greatest respect to Riley Jacks, he can't do what Billy Slater can do, nor is he as athletic as Billy Slater. So you're right. Also, they miss Cameron Smith just getting them back to the middle of the field, calming things down, kicking in behind, getting repeat sets of 6. His composure would have been invaluable tonight, but you cannot take away anything from Manly because their effort has been phenomenal.
Sure has.
So over to Trent Hodkinson. Debut with Manly way back in 2010. He returns tonight with that kick, and a nice return. What a valuable 2 points to kick.
Let's get in position.
Craig Bellamy, the grim-faced bellyache right there at 18 points to 4. That is a man that is in some way switched off out of this game. I don't know how he will settle down from all angles. The performance of his team would be primary, but some drama elements within the game will have him fuming as well. So again, repeating the sin bin stuff up, as we will call it. It is the job of the NRL officials. Melbourne protested. Manly obviously, well, they said, well, it's your job then. Back it comes for Slater.
Knock on Manly.
So you can't take action against Manly if NRL have given it the green light.
Manly ball. No, I'll take it. Manly, Melbourne ball, sorry.
And for the two referees, it's been a hard game to control as well, with all of this happening in the second half, and tempers frayed and a send-off. Curtis Scott set off. Brett Finch sideline. You've played for the Melbourne club. What about their discipline tonight?
Yeah, it's been terrible, Vossi, and they can talk or complain about the extra minute or so the players didn't spend in the bin, but that fight and the ill discipline shown by Curtis Scott has summed up the way Melbourne have played tonight. They have not stuck to the job at hand. It's such a disciplined team. They've been all over the shop tonight, and the sloppy storm, like you mentioned earlier, has summed them up pretty well.
It's a big lesson in the career of Curtis Scott. If he will take one thing out of this, it's to learn not to be baited.
Well, it's not the first time it's happened to him this year. Oh, Munster doesn't get a kick away. And then it's picked up, and away goes Tom Trbojevic. Here comes the Fox. Turbo Tom, the Fox is coming. So is Chambers. And Fox gets Tom Trbojevic. What a run, and now a penalty. They'll be sin bin. It'll be 11 on the field for Melbourne. What a passage of play. It was like a bedtime story. Turbo Tom chased down by the Fox, who's now off to the bin. How many have gone to the bin tonight?
There's 4 sin bins and 1 send-off.
4 sin bins, 1 send-off. Or is it 3? I don't know. I can't.
Jake Trbojevic, he got 10. Coruscant, he got 10. Curtis Scott's gone.
Dylan Walker got 10.
Dylan Walker got 10.
And now the Fox.
Addo-Carr.
Oh, what a night.
What about the tackle from Addo-Carr on Tommy Trbojevic? What a spectacle it was to see the foot race. And there it is, just a muddle up in the play, the ball. Addo-Carr, that was a special effort.
He's fast. We know how fast he is. He gave Tommy Turbo 10 or 15 metres start, and he's still got him 5 metres out from his own try line. What a player Addo-Carr is. It's been a tough night.
Well, the Melbourne Storm, they've completed at 56%. They've made 13 errors for what usually is the most disciplined team in the competition.
So, Vossi, there was a stat early on in the match.
Yep.
Heading into tonight's game,
yep,
we were 1 short.
Equal most, weren't we?
We were equal most or 1 short?
We're 1 short. The next sin bin tonight was going to take us past the tally of all of last year.
So we've gone past it.
We've
flying colours.
We've smashed it. You know, it's a PB.
It's round 11.
It was 43 going into this match. And that was after the one in the Rabbitohs-Cowboys game. And now we've got the most since 2000.
That's for sin bins.
It's sin binning.
Where are we for send-offs?
Well, this is the most send-offs we've had since 2015, yes.
There you go.
1. And Hodkinson kicks another goal. By the way, if you want to have a sense of humour, the NRL timekeeper at this match, if he controls an Olympic Games sometimes down the future, Bolt will run the 100 in 5.2.
Oh, I don't think he'll be back next week, that's for sure.
20 points to 4 is the scoreline.
Oh, I feel sorry for him.
Manly back-to-back wins, beating Brisbane in Brisbane and now Melbourne in Melbourne. And Seagulls, as you see a live ladder, the Storm stuck on 10 points with defeat here.
Right in, Nelson. Hold. Go. See.
So just outside their 30, the Seagulls with the ball. Well, if you can give me a quick assessment with 2.5 minutes to go, what do you make of Manly's form in a second half of sensations? But Manly aside 3 weeks ago, you didn't want to touch them. They were gone.
Even when they were 13 on 13, I thought Fanua Blake, Marty Tapau, they had their aggression back. They got forward. There's another penalty goes to Manly. Off the back of that, Api Coruscant was getting over the advantage line. They're a completely different team the last 2 weeks. But the effort here tonight, Vossi, under, let's be honest, tough circumstances, and there's a swinging arm from Asafa Solomona. He'll be put on report here.
Yeah, on report. And just trying to, I know it's so hard to take in all of this, but to explain timekeeping protocol, it goes off the game clock. So while Api Coruscant is sin-binned and comes off, it was a period of time before Henry Perenara, once he'd issued cautions and called them back out, before the game clock was restarted. That is when the 10 minutes starts, is when the game clock is restarted, not the moment that he walks from the field.
Exactly right.
So that's been the issue here. Well, it seems to be where it's all gone wrong for the NRL.
Because Api Coruscant left, obviously, a minute 50 after.
That's right.
Dylan Walker.
Dylan Walker was a substantial amount of time before.
The time clock hadn't changed.
That's right. But they, despite being sent to the bin 2 minutes apart virtually in real time, their sin bin time was still the same.
Exactly.
Because the game clock had not restarted. Ball is picked up here by Perrott for Manly. We feel it necessary to explain that process as best we can. 15 away from the line. Someone get me Phil Rothfield. What's he saying about tonight? What do you think of this, Buzz? As Tom Trbojevic goes short side for the corner and almost scores. Final 30 seconds of a game. Melbourne without Cameron Smith. And just like the grand final, they lost 40-0. They won't have scored a try. This time, in all of that, through for Fora Sipley is on, the former Warrior. He plays it there, 10 metres out. Hodkinson onto Cherry Evans. Out it comes. Wittgenstein is with it. He needs an offload on the fingertips. Surley will get over. What a finish for Manly. What a finish for the Manly Seagulls. The team that, well, what was it, round 5 up in Gladstone? They unravelled. They were a mess. And now they come back with what is a massive win in Melbourne.
And spare a thought for Matthew Wright. You watch his hands go up here. He's thought he's denied another try. Wittgenstein gets one-on-one. You see the hands go up. What about me? But Sully, so big, so strong. You give him half an opportunity that close to the line. Great offload, Wittgenstein, but watch the strength of Sully. No one is stopping him there. Billy Slater did his best. But a good finish for the Manly Seagulls.
And what about your how are you going with your tips, boys, as you watch all this unfold? I think I got one for the weekend so far. What a competition we call it work here on Fox League. We're trying to tip winners. It is a tough task. And what a Super Saturday of sensations, from Newcastle and the Gold Coast through to Cowboys and Rabbitohs, and now all that's happened here. 24-4. This is Melbourne's, or rather Manly's, biggest ever win in Melbourne. The most points they've ever scored in Melbourne. And that's regardless of whether Hodkinson kicks this. Heads are down. They've got some work to do, the Storm. And this one from 9 in from touch. You talk about put icing on the cake. He'll miss with it. Hodkinson. It's a 20-point victory in a night where we've had a send-off, 4 sin binnings, a time farce in the sin bin, but full time. Manly 24 defeat arch rivals Melbourne 4.